Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm going to be starting a new series, potential series, for the 7th Citadel. I will be doing this solo. As you can see, I don't have anyone with me. No, that's mainly because I've found that the 7th Continent, or 7th Citadel in this case, is best solo or with one other person. And it's a lot easier for me to just do this by myself. And I say potential series because I don't know how this is actually going to kind of like look overall. As kind of like a top-down view, like all of my cards are sleeved, and just the nature of how I have cameras, it might just have a shit ton of glare, and it might not even be that entertaining. So I am starting with a new beginning. This is kind of the tutorial-ish introductory to the game. So this should just be the one video, and it'll kind of give me an idea of like what this will look like overall. If I'm pleased with the way that it looks, then I'll continue and go into a new threat. But we'll see how this goes. So, a new beginning. Whoops. There we are. So, there is some art right there. The collapsing lands. During the conflict between the hegemonic city-state of Kel and its rival Gadalrock, a new threat emerged from the ground: the burrowers. Under the command of a mysterious master, these enormous worms tirelessly dug out underground tunnels to the point that they caused the collapse of entire regions. Kel and the rebel cities of the Protectorate had no choice but to call a truce and fight the creatures that had threatened to engulf them. But the Kellian legions, just like the mages of Gadalrock and the engineers of the Planes and Mechanisms Guild, proved powerless. All seemed lost. A glimmer of hope came from the ancient Druidic clans. They renounced their sacred principles to create, with blood and forbidden incantations, plant abominations, the only effective rampart against the burrowers. Thus began the reign of the Necrodruids. The War of the Worms had lasted for nearly 50 cycles. A cycle is 1 year, just so you know. So 50 years, and has irreparably disfigured the world. Despite their best efforts, the Necrodruids and what remains of the Kel Protectorate have been unable to stop the Worm Master, who remains unaccounted for. The collapsing lands, as they are now called, are drowned in a haze of dust thrown up by the burrowers. Plant monstrosities have spread, sometimes out of control, threatening the few surviving communities they were meant to protect. It is in a citadel, each Necrodruid's seat of power, that you are now exhausting yourself to care for these sacrilegious plant creations. As a slave gardener, you are waiting for one thing only: death by accident or exhaustion that will free you from this life of suffering. So pretty bleak land. I mean, interesting that it's kind of like these burrower worms that kind of just cause the destruction of the land. That's very unique. Don't really see a lot of stuff that has to do with like plants. Introduction. How long have you been in the Citadel? You have lost track of the cycles. The absence of a door at the entrance to your cell gives you a false sense of freedom within the tower, and occasionally it leads you to forget that you are nothing more than a prisoner. You wake up to a bitingly cold morning, bathed in a pale sunlight. Another long day of hard labor awaiting you at the sacred grove. One more day added to your interminable sentence, and one less left of your life. Who knows? Perhaps this one will be your last. It's a pretty horrific way of looking at it. It's like one more day of this, but one less of my own life. So there's a silver lining. Suppressing a shudder, you think of that apprentice gardener, whose silly antics were a welcome source of amusement just yesterday. But now his mangled arm, torn from its socket, is fertilizing the plants to which he used to tend. The reckless boy had been clearing the ground next to a sardinite, mistaking it for a rose of torment without seeking the assistance from a harvester. Fucking kids. I mean, really? Like, you're gonna like clear the ground next to a sardinite? Jeez. It has been drilled into you that the abominations created by the Necrodruids protect the Citadel and the remains of the Kel Protectorate. Why can I Protectorate from the burrowers? The belief is that one day they will help you win the war that has wrought chaos and decimated the once green and populous landscape. You have little choice but to place your belief in these stories, since you have not seen the outside world since your imprisonment. Hey! Enough daydreaming. The ground trembles and rumbles more than usual. A sudden violent blast throws you to the floor, shaking the citadel of Necrodruid Ninidazir to its very foundations. The southeast wall, with its dozens of cells, is torn asunder. Screaming prisoners, oh, my leg, can be heard over the thunderous collapse as they plummet to the chasm below. Somewhere beyond the clouds of dust and the creaking piles of debris, additional explosions and streaks of strangely colored lightning flash across the sky. Amidst the acrid smoke burning your eyes and throat, you can see the faint outlines of other prisoners rushing out of your cell. A shrill ringing fills your ears. Mop, mop. And your heart beats so fast that you feel as if it might burst. You have no idea what just happened, but your instinct bellows at you to get out of here as soon as possible. Gritting your teeth, you tense your muscles, ready to run. Welcome to the introductory scenario of 7th Citadel. So I get to choose my character. There are 4 to pick from. Arthan, Brooks, Casket, and Denham. I have chosen to play as Brooks, which is unfortunate because he's yellow, and I hate yellow. But, I don't know, I just picked Brooks because out of all the names I liked it the most. So, the last person who picked a fight with Brooks left their cell head first over a ledge. Brooks does not make concessions. A savage character developed during formative years spent surviving in the ruins of the city of Mordabal, being forcibly dragged to the Citadel by a cohort of purveyors has hardly made Brooks docile. Through 7 cycles of captivity, Brooks has never lost sight of one singular objective: escaping this place. The last attempt was nearly successful, something which would have been a first in the Citadel's history. So I chose that character, which gives me card 175, which says, your cellmates fear you, and not only because of your temper. Something radiates from you, something that even you can feel on occasion without being able to explain it. It is like a strength that occasionally explodes in violent rage. This is probably why, at the end of an exhausting day in the garden, you remain more energetic than others, whose stooped figures and emaciated faces bear the marks of this life of hard labor. A dormant strength. A childhood memory flashes through your mind. While you were out searching for food, an old building collapsed and a heavy beam fell on your friend Malik. A feeling of panic gripped you, but what you initially thought was fear was actually something quite different. Before the astonished faces of the other children in your gang, you managed to pick up the imposing length of wood, allowing your friend to escape. There is a hidden strength lying dormant within you, begging to be set free. So whenever I have 4 more cards with the keyword weakness, I take card 321 and I banish this. So I'm just super strong. So basically all characters will have like their movement on here. And if they move to a terrain where another character's figure is, it's less. So since it's just me, it's almost always going to cost me a lot of cards. So basically what I then do is I take the 15 skill cards that have B on them, and then 5 skill cards from among the letter X. Now I can choose any 5, but I'm just going to go with what I believe to be Brooks' best strength. And they have 5 recommended down here: Strength, Stamina, Support, Leadership, Arcane Knowledge, and Dexterity, Cunning. I'm going to go Strength, Stamina. Not a man of magic or stealth or leading. I brute force it, and if anyone gets in my way, I beat the shit out of them. So I have 20 cards to start in my deck. And then I have life points, and which is something that is different from 7th Continent, which, if you're watching this and trying to figure out what the differences are, 7th Citadel has life points, and since it's just me, I have 45 life points. And then I start with 2 cards in my hand. So every character has their own deck and life points that they manage instead of the shared action cards that was in 7th Continent. So not only is your deck still kind of like your stamina, but you have hit points, and you use hit points to replenish your deck if you need to. So then I take card 10, and then we hop right on in. Your cell measures barely 15 feet across. Your cellmates are shoving each other to get out before the upper floor collapses into your cell. On the other side, the room opens into the void, into the chaos of the garden below. A definite way out for your fellow inmates whose exhaustion and despair had driven them to end it all. Oh my god! Into the garden below. A definitive way out for your fellow inmates whose exhaustion and despair have wow, so some of them just straight up jumped off. And then there we are. So, hopefully, you can see that. And one of these days, I will get a camera to be able to zoom in. But as of right now, I do not have that. And I know these games, they spread out a lot. So I don't really want to zoom in too much. I mean, granted, you could always just remove cards, but I figured that as this spreads out, might be easier just to keep it. Let me know what you think. So, yeah. But you cannot use the Citadel leaflet yet. Leave it in the box. Ignore any effects mentioning it until further notice. And I may not save in-game progress. But I may attain up to 7 Hope Reborn cards to be spent later to revolve my group on the Destiny page of the 7th of the Citadel leaflet. And then I stop reading and I place this bookmark in here until told otherwise, so that will sit there. The leaflet that it's talking about is this thing. So this basically names your community, your resources that you level up, and then Destiny, which is kind of a skill sheet for you. And then in the middle there is the map, and then the side quests, and on the back are the buildings that you can build. So, a lot of stuff on this. Mainly, it's also a player aid. So, the consequence of actions, your actions, action sheet, creature traits. So, that is there. But, now, we begin. There are 3 things that I can do here. Right now, I can observe, I can search, or I can explore this doorway. All of which are free actions because they don't require me to draw any cards. And they don't require me to have any successes, so they automatically succeed. So I am going to search right up here, which allows me to get card 14, if it exists, which it definitely would. So card 14 is right somewhere. Oh, I don't have it. Yes, I do. I just forgot to put some stuff up. There we go. Card 14. Another tremor violently shakes the Citadel, bringing dirt and debris crashing down from the ceiling. The air is thick with dust, but you can make out a body buried under the rubble. Grunting with effort, you manage to pull it free. You recognize Taja, an affable girl who has shared your cell for several cycles. She is unconscious, her brown hair thick with blood from a nasty gash on her forehead. Bending over her, you can hear the faint sound of breathing. The other prisoners fled without a second thought. Will you carry Taja away to safety or leave her to some gruesome fate? So, there is that. I can also do that. I can also show every card, and that goes right there. So that is a thing. And we could just not worry about that. Like, I could just be like, oh, well, if everyone else is leaving her. But we, as Brooks, yeah, it's Brooks. We aren't, I mean, we don't tolerate, shit, but we're not assholes. So we're definitely gonna do what we can to save her. I think I'm gonna try anyway. So, oh, it's actually it costs 2 cards just to lift her up. So, so there's 2 cards. Doesn't matter on successes. So there's those 2. I gently lift her unconscious body and hoist her over my shoulder. She is pretty heavy. Jeez, I get to keep one of these. My hand size is 4. And I think I'm gonna keep spare no effort. And this gets banished, and I take card 11. Right there. So, you grit your teeth as the body over your shoulder grows heavier, and your arm begins to spasm. Oh, God. If only you could be sure that Taja would survive her wound. Rocks smash on the floor, sending fragments flying across the room. It is a high time you made a run for it. So, I have an unconscious Taja, and so now you kind of get supplies, and this gets banished into the banish area. Your body aches with fatigue, so now you have a weight limit. So in a solo game, I have 10 to carry. So she weighs 3 out of my 10. And now whenever I walk or run during the consequence step, I have to discard 2 cards from my deck. Which again, when your deck runs out or it's starting to run out, you can spend life points. And right now I'm doing regular, so for every life point I spend, I get 2 cards back. You can always make it easier, and it's for every life point you get 3 cards back. And harder, I think it's for every 2 life points you get 3 cards back. So I'm doing it standard right now, but now I have her with me, and I think, I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt just to see what is out over there. As I'm walking towards the door, I glance over to my left, which in this case is my actual right, but if I'm walking this way, it'd be my left. You walk to the back of the cell and stand at the ledge above the void. As you glance down to the sacred grove in the center of the garden, a gust of wind nearly makes you lose your balance. Looking up, you are speechless at the scene unfolding before your eyes. A gaping hole has been torn in the wall of the Citadel, which is now gutted. You are shocked by this terrible sight. Oh, there we go. There's the art. You are shocked by this terrible sight, but a spark of hope awakens in you. Freedom finally seems within reach, so long as you can escape this place in one piece. Immediately after this is revealed, if an involved character has a card with the keyword cumbersome, shit. Which I do, she is cumbersome. I take card 17. Weakened by the tremors, the floorstone slabs crack under your feet. The crumbling floor will likely not support you in the heavy load you are carrying. You are no more than a heartbeat, maybe 2, to react. During the following action, the active player is whoever revealed this. So, this sucks. Oh my god. Okay. So now it's mandatory, but a new thing in this is these chain actions, which basically means that I have to draw at least 2 cards. But because it's chained, I can only take into account certain cards. So in this case, I can draw like 4 cards if I want to, but I can only take into account 2 of them whenever I am trying to get successes. But I have determination, and I also have spare no effort. So I think I'm gonna draw 2 only. And that sucks, because that's the worst result I could have gotten, because I didn't get any successes. I got 2 half stars that don't link up. However, I can play spare no effort, and at any time during the result step, I can draw 2 additional cards and reveal them. So I'm ending up having to draw 4, and there we go. So I can't use these, but I only needed 2 successes, and there we go. There's the 2 successes. Even though it cost me 4 cards to do so, it was a gamble. Just like, no, we will live. I dive backwards and with an agile roll land on my feet. So I take a card 150. I am focused. With my senses on alert, I am ready for any eventuality. At any time I may choose to return this to return the You Are Confused card. Or I can choose 1 card from my discard pile and my action deck and add it to my hand. So this just gets discarded into the past, but ooh, that would have been a bad time. So crumbles underneath and falls as I still saved Taja. Otherwise, I would have had to basically discard her as she falls down. Whew. Alright, well, let's get out of here. So, 15. Dozens of prisoners run past your cell. You are about to run after them when a terrible crash deafens you. Tons of stones have dropped into the corridor, filling the space with thick, billowing dust. Wailing and cries for help echo through the corridor. So, there's that, just in case you guys can't see it. There we go. So, that's the door, and yeah, it looks like there's all the smoke from what just fell. Well, unfortunately, to run, I mean, it's going to cost me 1 card to just do that. And then I rush out of my cell, and then actually during the consequences step, I have to discard 2 more cards because I'm carrying her. I rush out of my cell after my fellow inmates. No matter what happens, I swear I will never set foot in there again. Discard this and replace it with a 15 card. Each involved character moves their figure onto it. Yay! So, yes, there's the past, and then I actually replace it with the gold 15 card. You enter the corridor that runs along the cells of the upper floor. The ceiling has collapsed on the north side, forever sealing access to that part of the Citadel. Breathing heavily, with your eyes watering from the thick dust, oh god, my eyes, you make your way forward. And luckily, I got to already move on to it. So, in the future, because of that, I mean, that card let me freely move on to it, but if I was to ever come back, it would cause an additional card because of all the rubble. So, now, with that being the case, we have 2 event cards that if I want to check 31, I have to deal with, or 19, I also have to deal with. But, while I am here, I can observe card 18, if that exists, which it definitely should. A gardener lies face down on the floor, moaning as he attempts to pull himself free from the rocks that have crushed his legs, leaving him in torturous agony. God, my legs. My leg! There he is. I always hated this guy. The man stretches out his scrawny arm in your direction, giving you a pleading look. So, boom. So that is right there. I can go and help him. It does require strength to do so. It's at least 2 cards, and I can only count on 3. I do have determination still, because I never ended up using it, to try and free him. Okay, well, I think. God, let me see. So right now, the great thing about this game, and Seventh Continent for that matter, is a lot of the stuff is based on, like, what you're looking at is kind of what is on the cards. So, you know, I can see that there's a hallway down this way, and I can see that there's a room over here, right? Nothing up north because there's nothing. 1, there's no number, but 2, it told me that the rubble sectioned that off, so I cannot go that way. That guy's, you know, has his legs crushed and he's dying. But I'm just going to kind of like walk past him and say, "Eesh, get me out of here." And I'm going to check out 31. So we flip this, and it is an event. Total chaos reigns in the corridor. The prisoners are jostling to get out as quickly as possible. Only the strongest or the sneakiest seem to be prevailing. So I have to take one of these actions. And I think... God. You know what? I'm going to risk it. It might be about... no. Fuck. So, these are mandatory. I have to pick one of them. One, I could try and be stealthy, and it's a chain, so I can only take into account 1, but I only need 1 success. Or I can fight, which causes 3 cards, but there's no chain, so I have 3 cards to try and get 2 successes. As people are fighting on my way to the doorway. Let's see. But the negatives are worse for if I fail the stealth. So I'd much rather fight. So it's going to be 1. I'm only going to draw 3 because I'm sure I can get at least 2 successes. Oh my god, I only got 1. Well, there we go. Only got 1 success. I do not want to use my determination on that. So I met my match, but managed to get away with a bloody nose. So I just take 1 damage. Could be worse, but there's that. Then I reveal 31. Boop. The door in front of you leads to the room used to store the gardening tools, which would increase your chances of survival. Every day, the overseer, a taciturn man with rather odorous breath, distributed the tools to the gardeners and ensured they were all returned in the same condition. So, basically, it is a door that is locked. The heavy door is double locked, which is hardly surprising. If prisoners had access to this room, they might use the tools for something other than gardening. So again, it is a locked item, or it's a chain, so 2 cards to get 3 successes. I've not had that much luck to try and get in here. But I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to try it anyway. I don't see, if I can get at least 2 successes, I can use determination to get in there. But before I do that, I'm just going to... Okay, well, what's down this? So I'm going to actually, before I interact with that, I'm going to look down here. And you have picked up a malleable wire. This will come in handy. Oh, hey! All right, well, perfect. So there is a metal wire. It is a trinket. Doesn't weigh anything. So, and this will actually help me. So these actually have some uses on it. What's new also to 7th Citadel are these icons that are kind of like class icons. Like a lot of mine have had. Well, first of all, that gets discarded, not where I did it. Like this one, for example, is like the strength and dexterity icon. So the metal wire will allow me to increase the value of cards during a chain action that I can take into account. So in this case, I can use the metal wire to open the door. So I can draw 3 cards and use 3 cards. And turn any of those symbols into successes. So I am going to draw 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Well, there we go. That's just 3 flat-out successes, which is awesome. I don't have to use my determination. And because this was selected, I click open the door, clink, and then this breaks. Oh well, it was a wire. So then these get discarded. The door gets banished and replaced with another 31. Which is right here. You push open the door into the storage room where an earthy, damp stench fills the air. Several shadow weeds give off a pale, light blue glow. So there is the art for that. And that goes right there. Let's see. And it didn't tell me that I could freely move in there, so it is gonna. But before I go in there, I am gonna use my. How many cards do I have in my discard pile? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 7 hit points to get all my cards. You know what? I'll do that. I have it. So this can put me at 37. And that'll basically take all but one of them and put it back into my action deck. So the one card I didn't get back was Fortitude, and then the rest I'm gonna have to be doing this a lot because I'm carrying Taja. But let's see. She weighs 3. So I'm going to spend 1. Oh, that was my... Oh, I haven't used my second one yet. So I'm going to have to spend 1 to do a check, which is to move into an adjacent figure, which will then, during the consequence, cause me... So it's basically causing me 3 to move. And moving back, it's going to cost me 4. Okay. So, I can... What are those icons? I can search, I can observe, and I can... Where is it? I can spot. Sorry, I can observe, I can... Yes, examine. So I can examine, I can observe, and I can search. Let's go ahead. While we're in here, let's search. And it's free, luckily, so we will do 42. There we go. Several barrels stand against a wall, and a number of full hemp sacks lie on the floor. The barrels are empty. With a hard shove, you could roll one over to use as a support. Your attention is drawn to the bags, apparently filled with compost. Strangely, one of them seems to be quivering. Okay. Well, again, for free. Oh, it looks like as an action, I can actually gain a success and loot and not have to draw as many cards during a climb action. But since it's in here, so something in here must allow me to climb. But while I'm there, I will take a 35 card because it is free to do so. You kick the bag, releasing a centipede the size of your forearm, which quickly scuttles off towards the sack of barrels. In one fell swoop, you seize it and slice its head off before it can bite you with its venomous fangs. It is still wiggling as you slip it discreetly into your apron pocket. You would rather not have to share this prize catch with another gardener. Ewy! That's pretty nasty. Your mouth is watering at the prospect of devouring this snack. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. So one involved character, hey, I get 5 cards back. That's gonna be nice. Just gonna suck on that as I'm heading back over the debris. Well, I guess what? Yeah, let's go ahead and go and observe. That's also for, well, they're all free, luckily. So 23. A section of ceiling has collapsed in the corner of the room. Looking through the opening above your head, you can make out the angular shape of a piece of furniture hidden in the shadows of what appears to be a bedroom, which goes right there. The opening is too narrow for you to slip into the room on the floor above, but if you try hard enough, you should be able to squeeze your arm through. Okay, so this is a check. It is a climb check, which, where was that? Oh, right here. So, if I have a key word with the keyword weakness, which I do not, I can actually climb and make that check. And because I can roll a barrel over, which is really neat, I only have to draw 2 cards and only need to get 1 success, which I will. And it's a 4 out of 4 too, so on the double, there is my 1 success because I'm standing on a barrel to be able to reach my arm in, so that's pretty sweet. Your hand touches what appears to be the leg of a reading desk. Feeling around, you find a book that has fallen on the floor. You manage to grab it with your fingertips before stepping down. Take a 50 card. You leaf through the book you have just found. Capped Aranti. So there's some Capped Aranti. You may not take the following action unless this mushroom can be seen on a permanent event card attached to your terrain card. A chapter catches your attention. It talks about a supposedly edible variety of mushroom that appears to thrive in dry, dark environments. The tome explains how to prepare it to bring out the full flavors and avoid the potentially dangerous side effects subsequent to ingestion. So for each Capped Aranti quest card I have, I can take a 54 card, choose one of these cards, apply its effects, and return the other. So this gets banished, and this is a quest card that applies to everyone playing, which is basically just me. So, and it's not even basically, it is just me. So that can go in my little quest book. So now, I can actually, if I see those anywhere, I can actually prepare them. Well, no, I have to be able to take the action to prepare them. So, and I don't believe there are any here that I can see. So, well, the last action would be to check out 30. Which these, if I remember right, should be the tools, because this is where the gardener put them. In the most military fashion, the overseer is a former legionnaire. After all, a few iron tools are organized on a rack. Sieves, baskets, and buckets hang from the wall as well. Spade, hoe, rake. You cannot decide which of these tools would be the most useful. Well, for free, I can take a 39 card. So let's see. A 39 card. Boom. The flail, an agricultural tool used for threshing grass, grain, and anyone who might stand in your way. Okay. So for a strength action, I can lower the action by 2 cards. And for every 3 icons, I can make 1 success. Okay. And that weighs 1, so right now I have a weight of 4. You know what, let's just take another one, which is 39. No reason why I shouldn't. And then the hoe, a useful gardening tool for loosening earth and cutting through roots. If sharpened, it can also slice through flesh. Yes, it can. So this one for digging or an attack action, I can just gain a success. And you can never use icons on the same test. You can never use cards that have the same keyword. So both the flail and the flail and the hoe is a weapon and a trinket. So I actually could use both of them during an attack. And I mean, while I'm there, there's one more 39 card. I'm just going to take it all. The axe. A tool reserved for the harvesters at the Citadel. Cutting down a tree is a job for anyone, but when the tree starts to hit back, that's a job for the harvesters. So this is a weapon, meaning that I can't use the other weapon. And this one allows me to increase the chain effect by 1, or turn 2 punches into 2 successes, which is actually really good for me because I have a bunch of punches. So now my weight is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm at 7. And that is pretty much everything in this room. And now to travel back, unfortunately, it cost me 4 to do so. But as I'm walking out with my bag of tools, I'm sucking on this centipede, so I'm going to discard that. And that will put 5 cards back. And then, and there's really no reason to have these cards stay there, except just to show that I did explore that. Eventually, like, there are rules that will have you, like, if you run out of space, to kind of have cards kind of go back. You just basically return them all, and you have to meet on the. If you're playing with other people, you all have to meet on the same terrain. But since it's just me, I can constantly have this stuff just kind of fade off behind me. All right. So 19. Got my bag of weapons. Now is time to try and get out of this hellhole. You make your way down the corridor, leaning against the walls to avoid collapsing with each new tremor. It is as if you knew every slab, having walked these halls for far too many cycles. At dawn, to the garden, and at nightfall, exhausted, back to your cell. Strangely, you feel a mix of worry and relief as you walk through this similar setting. By the end of the day, there will likely be nothing left of this place. Boom. So again, it's always pretty much going to cost me 3 to travel down. And because of that, I'm going to quit looking at every single thing. I'm just going to really try and get get out of here. So here is a number. Another rumbling shakes the building. The ceiling begins to crumble and debris rains down around you. During the following action, the active player is whoever revealed this, so I have to try and dodge. That's not going to be easy. You know what? I think I'm just like I'm just really just carrying Tasha, just these weapons. I'm not even gonna try the dodge. A chunk of rock smashes into me. I take 1 damage. Not even gonna exert myself. Just yeah, blood coming down. I'll kill whoever threw that rock at me. But sir, no one threw a rock at you. I'll kill you. So that's gonna be 26. Boom. A strange creature ambles aimlessly in the corridor. You slowly approach it with your palms open, showing that you mean no harm. Well, palm. Distraught, it waves a piece of wood in your direction. Not seeing you back off, it tries to land a clumsy blow. Ew! Gross. You know what this reminds... That immediately reminded me of like the way the gingerbread man looked in Brothers Grimm. Okay. So these are also new. These are called something actions. I always literally forget what they are called. And I can never find them in the... Oh, I left that guy back there. Whoops. Well, it's too late now to try and get there. They are called... Boop, boop, boop. Beep, boop. Yeah, compounded actions, which basically means that... So right now there is a die that I place on here, which is a 3. So this is a kind of like multiple actions in a row that you have to deal with. So right now I'm kind of locked into fighting this guy. And since it's chained, I can only use 1 card to be able to try and get 3 successes. And for each success I get, even if I don't reduce this to 0, I failed, but it ticks the number down, so it makes it easy. It's to kind of showing that you're constantly doing something besides just a success or fail. Now, another thing is, there is not a secondary. So items, let's see, calling gear up. Gear up. Nope. Gear. Okay, there we go. And no keyword in common with another selected card. Okay. I was just wondering what the secondary meant. So right now, I'm fighting this thing. It requires a sword. So the hoe guarantees me a success, but I can only use 1 card. So I might use the axe, which lets me use 2 cards and take into consideration 2 cards. So I think I'm gonna do that and hopefully get 2 successes. I did, which is actually really good because now I will use determination. And block this basically means block, it goes underneath your character. I have these, I just kind of put them in a different sheet. So that is 3 successes, which means I succeed and I get to keep 1 of these. And what is that black? You obtain any one of the following. Okay, so I'm going to get Jack of all trades. I'm going to keep that one. Inspiration, choose 1 of the cards in your discard pile and add it to your hand. Nah, I don't have time for that. So I'm going to keep Jack of all trades. And that is 3 successes, so that means this goes down to the bottom. So then, I'm still fighting this guy, using an axe while holding Taja, deflecting his wooden stick, whatever monstrosity this thing is. I'm just like, oh, get out of my way. Everything's crumbling. I am Brooks. I think I'm going to keep with the axe. Because, again, I'm going to use the thing that lets me draw an additional card and take into consideration those. So that is gonna be... Oh, there we go. I was like, oh man. So that is 2 successes. And Well, I can also use... Oh, no, damn it, I can't. Because it's a secondary, and I have secondary on here. So, it's like, oh, I can use the flail as well. But I cannot. But I could use the hoe in the flail. But either way, it's 2 successes, so I failed, but I do tick this down by 2. And then, because I failed, I will take 2 damage. But I get to keep one of these cards. Weak point lets me, for every 2 fists, I can increase the chain link by 1 and get to keep a card. That's pretty good. Drop your guard during the consequence of I may not apply a shield effect, which again is fine. I think I'll actually do the drop your guard. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna do the hoe as my gear up. So sheath the axe, pull out the hoe to try and take this down. So I am gonna draw 2 cards, and I actually didn't even need to use the hoe. That's 2 successes, which is enough to bring that down to 0. So I banish this, bring it down with the other weapon, just right into its eyes, like the 2 hooks of the hose go into the eyes, which kills it. So, and I replace it with a 26 card. But I do not get to keep any of these. It was still exhausting to do so. I only have 3 cards left. So probably gonna do... Oh, I can do my second win now. But we'll see what 26 is. In the dim light of the corridor, you inch your way forward. You walk past a half-open door on the west side and cannot suppress a shudder of fear. The room beyond it is the Chamber of Questions, and anyone entering it always confesses their secrets, even if they have none to hide. Enraged howls ring out from the cells across the way. Boop! Nice. Okay, so second wind. I think I will discard 1 card. I'm just gonna rest real quick after that fight. Even though it was this weird blob thing swinging a stick at me, I'm still carrying a person. And I get to discard... I get to basically get 6 cards back. Oh, and second wind gets... What? What's actually cool is the starting cards are a little bit different depending on the characters that you picked. So, for example, like the Denim, I think was his name. He has a second wind, but his lets him only get 3 cards back, but he gets to pick which 3. Whereas mine allows me to get 6 cards, but I don't know which ones. 6. Okay, so... Which again, for me to move down... is still going to cost me 3. Boop. And then we have 2 more events. Here and here. Now, let's see. So, what did it say? It was like to my... Yeah, I can... so, right here, I guess, would be the question... The Chamber of Questions. And I can listen in on that. Again, I don't think I am. I don't think I am. I think that's probably a bad idea. If it's like so horrifying to even walk by, is like makes you freak out. Dang, I totally fucking left that guy. I meant to help him on the way out. I was just so concerned on trying to get out, so that dude just bled out by being crushed. Well, sorry, man. You should have been in my cell, and you should have been a woman. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, don't get your legs crushed. That sucks. Well, let's see what's coming out from over here. Where is Walda? You run into a prisoner crawling around, making strange little squeaks. Poor man. It was the lockup that must have made him lose his mind. Or perhaps he took a rock to the head. You ask him why he is not running away to safety. He explains, quite lucidly, that his best friend Walda, a mouse with an ashy coat, got scared and ran off. He begs you to help him find her. Maybe a mouse? So I need objective card that, if I have an objective card, that is objective number 1. So this is a quest, or that I can put into my little book. And I guess I can try and find Walda. Or sorry, I can search for Walda, and I can only draw 2 cards and take into consideration, and I need 4 successes, which is basically not happening. Yeah, I don't even think there's any way for me to try and get 3 successes out of 2 cards. No, I do not think that's possible. So, 32. Okay. You have walked past this room 1,000 times, but have never entered it yourself. What luck! Those who have experienced it have terrible memories, the sort that wake them up at night, drenched in sweat, with eyes wide in horror. Pushing the door open, you take a look inside the interrogation room. An overturned brazier has spilled its dimly glowing embers all over the floor. An obviously unconscious, obese giant is slumped against a cupboard. Close by, a man is imprisoned by stocks around his neck and wrist. So, there is that. How's everything looking? Not bad, actually. I'm actually surprised. So, neat. Okay. God. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna go in there. I didn't help the guy who was crushed. Maybe I can help the guy who, who's imprisoned over here. So, before I do that, I am going to search, which will give me card 28. The furniture catches your attention and you decided to inspect it carefully. You open the panels and rummage through each piece of furniture, slipping your fingers into every nook and cranny where even the smallest cockroach would not think to hide. I can take a 13 card to try my luck. Lady Luck is on your side. Okay. Sweet. Oh, shit. I forgot to... Dang it. Forgot to show you. There it is. Old Cinder always said, luck is like a Kellyan Legion. As long as it's on your side, you don't have to worry too much. So, sweet. If Lady Luck is on your side, I find something useful. Take card 199 and 149 card. Okay. So, 199. I found an iron bar. Well, that might come in handy. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, there's the iron bar. And that will help me with lockpicking, strength, and attacking. That's really good. Dope. And card 49. Glimmer of Hope. There is always a solution, and death is not necessarily the worst. Think about that. At any time, I may return 5 Glimmer of Hope cards to take 199 card. Or I can use this to unblock 1 card. So I can use this to get like my second win back, which I might. Yeah. Now unblock, I need to actually, does unblock put it back into my, does it put it back into my hand? Or, because blocking, it's still the card, block card loses all effects, yeah. But where does it go if I unblock a card? It unfortunately doesn't say. Anyway, those are creature traits, consequence of actions. Unblock a card. This block is 18. 17, 18. Oh. Take it from under your care and then shuffle it back into your action deck. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I am going to do that. Put the second wind back into my action deck. Even though that might not matter a whole lot. And this gets discarded, so that's 28. Yeah. And then Glimmer of Hope, this gets returned, so 49. Alright, sweet. Well, that Iron Bar was very nice. I think now, with that Iron Bar, that might help with this guy. And that icon is, I think it's like greet. Yeah, so I can greet. Hey man, what's going on? 37. Hey, you're the man who left that dude behind while he was bleeding out? The man's head twists in the stocks. You have spent enough time with the other inmates to know this individual is not from the Citadel. His face still bears the marks of his recent interrogation. He stares scornfully at you, eyes shining with a dark malevolence. He's got a sly smile forming at the corners of his blood-stained mouth. Well, there's that guy. Might not be letting him out. Who could he be? Why was he tortured? Was he able to overcome his persecutor? Given his current situation, he is most likely expecting that you will also be asking him a few questions. Pants him. So I can talk to him, which now brings us to the dialogue book. Obviously very new. This was definitely not in 7th Continent. So basically you just read whatever it tells you to read. So 49. The mysterious individual speaks before you can open your mouth. Now set me free! Quickly! Before he wakes up! He urges in a hurried whisper, nodding to the body lying nearby. We're on the same side. If you choose to free the prisoner, read 1. If I choose to wait, I read 15. Yeah, you know what? What could go wrong? I'm gonna free him. This is my dad. Okay. You undo the fastenings on the stocks, and the prisoner straightens up and stretches, rubbing his aching joints and arms before drawing strange patterns in the air around him. You're about to ask him to identify himself and what he is doing here when you hear him murmuring something that sounds like an incantation. Shit. He turns his palm towards you with a deft movement and unleashes a powerful beam of energy that shoots through the air and sends you hurtling back against the wall. Slumped on the cold stone slabs and still in shock, you watch as he strolls nonchalantly out of the interrogation room. Well, you know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you know, free someone from, I can't remember what those are called. And they help you or they hurt you. Each character on the active player's terrain takes a 2 card, and I take a 4D card and return the dialogue book. So I'm taking a 2 card, which is probably like my bum hurts. Your thoughts are incoherent and you struggle to remain focused. You keep telling yourself, get it together, which is easier said than done. Ha-ha! Anytime I may return this, to return the You're Confused card. I'm focused. I'm like, oh man, that guy is going to get it. So, 150 goes away. Whew. So now it doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to read that O2 card because I'm not confused. But I will say, what was it, 40? Take a 40 card and return to the dialogue book. Boom, 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 boom. Crack. You look up and see a fissure making its way across the ceiling, stopping halfway. Anxiously, you hold your breath. Huh. False alarm. You can get back to what you were doing. Fuck me. Okay. The fissure suddenly shoots forward, splitting the ceiling in two. A stone block crashes to the floor in front of you, and you have just a few moments before the whole thing collapses. Well, I have to run, which is unfortunate. I'll draw 2 cards, and I have to use my Jack of all trades to get a success here. So there's the 2 successes. You manage to escape from the room before the ceiling gives way, raining down a barrage of rocks where you were standing just seconds before. So banish my terrain card and replace it with a 32 card. So this gets banished. And then the 32. Discard the permanent event cards attached to it. Move each involved character to... Okay, well, hey, that's a free movement. And that goes into the past. That was a close one. As the dust settles, a stone rolls across the floor to your feet. The rubble has almost completely blocked the door to the room, which is now buried under several tons of rock. Anyone who was in there has probably been reduced to a pulp. Aha! Ha 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 ha! Well, this is, I can't remember what it said to do with that. Oh well, I think this probably gets discarded. But, here is the rubble, except, I have no idea if you'll be able to see it. But I can see it. There is a 33 on here. However, I'm going to take 9 damage, which puts me at 25 to get all my cards back. Ooh, I'm very curious what that 33 is. Maybe it's Walda. Maybe it's the mouse. Maybe she was hiding in that cupboard back there. Because I'm still technically looking for her, but I have no idea where I would even find that. If it even is. It said a mouse, so I don't know if that's a typo or if that's actually just what they call mice in this game. Because one thing they kind of do in this, which a lot of games kind of do, is they just name things like that are in the world that's like, no idea what that is. That means nothing to me. So it's kind of difficult to really know what certain things are. Oh, man. That's going to be very expensive to go in there. Because it's going to cost me 5 actually, because it's a walk. But then 6, 7, because I'm carrying her still. 7 cards just to see what 33 is. I really don't think it's worth it. Because I'm basically at... I'm down 20 health. I really don't think so. So I'm going to read what this is. I am out of... Okay. I am out of breath. Do I continue on as best as I can? One random involved character takes a 1 card, or do I risk a few moments to rest? Well, I don't need to rest anymore. I mean, I don't know what 01 is. It could just be tired, like exhausted, which would suck. Damn. I wish I knew that was there. Actually, can I deal with that later? Or do I have to resolve that specific icon right now? Temporary, but that must be resolved immediately. Yeah. Damn it. Well, I'd rather not be tired, so I'll see if Lady Luck is on my side. I'll rest a little bit. How many 13 cards are there? A decent amount, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We'll shuffle these, and Lady Luck is on my side. Old Cinder always said, if you escape an encounter with a burrower, go to the tavern and play dice or cards while fortune is still smiling. Oh, you old cider. And then this gets returned. So I don't have any cards to replenish, but at least I don't take a hit point loss. So could be worse. And then that just gets discarded. And then card 34. Okay. You notice people gathering at the far end of the gallery. Several very agitated prisoners are standing at the top of the stairs leading out to the sacred grove. You overhear a few snippets of conversation. There's that. And, oops. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3. All right. And yeah, so this, with the red around it, means that an action that all characters on the act must get involved in. So, basically, yeah, if there was more than just me, then everyone would have to do that action together. But while I'm walking, oh man, here's some crazy shit happening back there. 27. Gonna talk to those prisoners. Several prisoners jostle each other in confusion on the landing, where just moments ago there was the only staircase leading down to the garden level. So there's them fighting each other. We're doomed! Game over, man! Game over! We're worse off than a wursel in a field of cardiflowers! You shut the fuck up. Shut it, Liam. You're as cowardly as you are ugly. Think I'm ugly? Have you seen what's left of Mance? He was an arm's length away from making it. An arm's length! So I can talk to him. Banish this and read 10. Okay. Hey, guys. What's going on? Like, shut the fuck up, Brooks. You stand in the middle of the group to make sure everyone can hear you. So I can be authoritative, diplomatic, or a jokester. I kind of want to be a jokester. Just Brooks. It has, like, he tries to be funny, but, like, he just, like, because clearly someone tried to fight him, which caused him to, like, throw him over the ledge and basically killed him. But this time he's just, like, trying to be, I mean, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a jokester. Hey, none of you has found a ladder by any chance, huh? Which lets me read 16. The largest prisoner, a man by the name of Thorm, puts his enormous paw on your shoulder. You're a funny one. You are. Oh. So I get to take 13 to try my luck. If Lady Luck is... Okay, well. I just shuffled those. So, 13. Lady Luck is on your side. And Old Cider, I already read that. Put that back in there. So that lets me read 26. Thorm's laughter is drowned out by the crash of the collapsing ceiling. Right, no ladder. But it was worth asking. Perhaps your nerve will pay off another time, or perhaps not. So I take a 154 card, and then I go back to 10. Okay. 154. There it is. Hey, I am lucky. Immediately after this is revealed, if I have a You Are Jinx card and or the Evil Eye card, I return them. When I must take one or more 13 cards to try my luck, instead of doing so, I may consider that all the cards you should have taken are Lady Luck is on your side if I do return this. Or I can return this to get a shield, a shield or a success. Hey, all right. Now I can basically be authoritative or a diplomat. So, because I tried to make a joke, I'll be diplomatic. Hey, don't you think it would be wise to get out of here before the ceiling falls down on us? Which I read 157. The largest prisoner, a man by the name of Thorm, throws you a doubtful glance. You're a funny one, you are. It's like, yeah, I just made a joke. Have you seen how far you'd have to jump? You'll finish in a broken pile just like Mance. Take a look if you aren't scared of the heights. He points down to the disjointed body lying below. Liam interrupts in a panic. Thorm's right! There's no chance we'll make it! We're all gonna die in here! You are positive that you would stand a better chance if someone else was already on the other side of the chasm to catch you. Looking around, you quickly spot 2 gardeners whose size and bulk make them ideal candidates for this mission. Now you just need to convince them to jump. Your job would certainly be much easier if Liam stopped demoralizing everyone with his constant whining. Liam, shut the fuck. Oh my god, I've always hated you. Like, Liam, the crybaby bitch. Like, of the garden, jeez. So, I don't have any provision, so I can't bribe them. Maybe I can intimidate them? Yeah, I'm fucking Brooks. Yeah, I'll try and intimidate him. So I go to 11. Without warning, you grab Liam by the arm, and in a savage, sudden motion, you hurl him to the void. Oh my god! You hurl him into the void before turning back to the group. That is intimidating. Like, God, Liam just, oh my, ooh, see, doesn't anyone just feel better? Silence. Anyone else who opens their mouth will be joining their little friend down there. Do exactly what I say, and we might stand a chance of getting out of here. Take a 13 card to try my luck. If Lady Luck is on my side, the prisoners are stunned by my horrific act. Hey, look at that. And I'm lucky. How nice. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like the success on this. Because it's a blessing. So, let's do this one. Lady Luck is on your side. As an old cider always said, if your bullocks is sick, rejoice. It hasn't been eaten by a burrower yet. How nice. And I didn't have to use my You Are Lucky. Cool. Yeah, they're all stunned by my horrific act. At least now you have their attention. Your 2 volunteers are visibly intimidated and hurry to carry out your orders. Take a 52 card and return the dialogue book. Well, sometimes you gotta throw people off the ledge. And it's usually people who whine a lot and do nothing for the group in situations like this. So, Liam should have just kept his mouth shut. Inspired by your speech, the prisoners compose themselves. There is no time for dawdling. Faced with the choice between waiting for death and gambling it all on survival, they have decided. Better to try and fail than to curl up and die. Selecting the 2 most agile members of the group, they leap across the void to the other side of the staircase. So, there's this, but I am going to put it like so because, I mean, just at least it's there. I mean, you know what? I can actually just do... I'll just do this, I guess. I'll move everything up 1. There we are, and right there. Luckily, the 2 lads narrowly make it across. You hold your breath as you watch them whisper about what to do next. After all, they could easily flee and save their own skins. Breathing a sigh of relief, you see them turn back and prepare to catch the next ones to jump, including you. So now, I will do 24. They are ready for me. A large section of the staircase has collapsed, and anyone hoping to reach the stairs leading down will now have to leap across a gaping chasm. The task seems as difficult as it is dangerous, given the broken, disjointed corpses you see lying below. So, there's that. So only 1 character may get involved in the following action, which in this case is like a jump balance check, I think is what it's called. Yeah. So, but because of that, I can draw 3 cards to try and get 2 successes, and none of my stuff helped me with that. However, because I'm carrying her, if I have a card with the keyword weakness and or cumbersome, which I do, it's actually 2 cards and I need 3 successes. But because they're helping me, I can get 3 cards. I'm going to draw 4. Oh man, that's rough. Do I do 5? I think I do 5, because then I can use 3 cards. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, good deal. Good deal. So 1, 2. Any of these gives me my 3. So, but that's pretty much. So if I was able to use all of these, it would have been 4 successes. But that's it. So still not much, but I did do it. You land gracefully on your feet. Put a 41 card into play in the space shown, unless it is already there, and move my figure onto it. So, and I also didn't have to move over there, so drawing 5 cards was still a little bit better. Taking the stairs 4 at a time, you finally emerge into open air. You stare incredulously at the gaping hole that has torn the Citadel asunder. A huge heap of boulders had submerged a large portion of the sacred grove. Panicked prisoners scramble about through the clouds of dust. Boom! And there we are, right there. Right there. Just run downstairs. Okay. So we are now outside. Let's see. Are there any secret numbers? None that I am seeing immediately. So, well, let's go north. It's going to be 38. Yes. Oh, technically, it does cost me a card to look at that. And not technically, that is the rule. You turn towards the garden where just yesterday you were laboring to harvest Omnicura sap. You cautiously make your way forward and notice a clearly disoriented vault bush staggering about. These creatures are generally only seen in the Necrodruid chambers, where they are tasked with protecting certain precious artifacts. This specimen seems to have been badly damaged by the falling rocks, given its contents strewn about nearby. I don't know what the hell that thing is, but there you go. The vault bush is set upon by a swarm of aggressive birds that must have smelled something tantalizing in its treasure trove. It retaliates by firing off a volley of deadly spines. You might be able to take advantage of the diversion to seize something of value. Oof. Dang, what could I get that's of value from that? That's 3 cards and 3 successes on a sneak. Which I guess I could be lucky. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna draw 4 cards. Okay, so there we go. I can use 3 cards. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I succeeded. I don't get to keep. You sneak forward without drawing the creature's attention. Take a 350 card and banish this. 350, eh? That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot right there. There we go. Smoke Spitter. A bomb that releases a thick cloud of smoke when it explodes. So during an attack, bomb, secondary, projectile, and fragile. Dang. I didn't even really look at, like, how many 350s are there? 1, 2... Okay, so there were 2. 2 more. Well, maybe that'll come in handy. Okay. And now basically all this is gone. I don't believe I can normally, like in 7th Continent, you can take the trip back, but it doesn't seem like I can, mainly because it made it sound like the leap was so, like, barely you made it across. So damn. Are there any caps that I can eat? Nope. No, I don't have any of those. And observing, unfortunately, yeah, I never found Walda. That's very interesting. Okay. So, well, the only thing left for me to do is I picked up and found a smoke spitter. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, I'm at 9 total weight, which I can have 10. I can see what's at 47. A gust blows through the breach that has cleaved the Citadel's outer wall into two. You are only a couple hundred steps away from freedom. As you quicken your pace, a broken body crashes to the floor in front of you. Oh, what's ahead of me? A gigantic tree bristling with skulls is on a killing spree, frantically cutting down the escapees as they attempt to scale the rubble. Behind you, the cells collapse one after another, removing any possibility of retreat. There we are. There's a massive tree. Your only option is to take on the enormous clawed branches of the monstrosity standing between you and your freedom. You thought the most difficult part was behind you. Also, 6, 3, 3, 5. Okay. Every time you use a weapon, or these items in particular, I have to roll a die to see if it gets broken. None of it did. So now I need to fight this thing. But it's not mandatory right now, so I can see, so I can basically... How many cards do I have left? I have no way to heal right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, gonna fully heal. Get all my cards back. Except the one that's blocked. And fight this thing. So hopefully I can whoop its ass. So the flail isn't going to be doing much. The hoe guarantees me, but the axe is probably still going to be best. That iron bar is good too. +1 and 2 strength becomes... It is -3. So... Probably still the axe. Cutting down a tree is a job for anyone. But when the tree starts to hit back, that's a job for the harvesters. And you know what I am, baby? I'm fucking Brooks. Okay. And I'm lucky. And... yeah, so let's go ahead and try and deal with that. So, it doesn't have any keywords. I need at least 4 successes. I could just use the smoke spitter right off the bat, which would guarantee me 2 successes. You know what? I think I will. So I'm going to draw 2, which is the minimum that I have to do. So I geared up with the smoke spitter. Okay, so I got 1 success. And the smoke spitter gives me 2. Unfortunate. Oh, and 3 of those symbols, but those symbols don't do anything for me. Which actually, I guess, I could have also equipped the weapon. Or the hoe. Because it's weapon, bomb, secondary, projectile, fragile. So I could equip all this because it's not... So actually, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So with the smoke spitter, run up and just hit it with the hoe. So the smoke spitter gets returned. The hoe gets a 1. So the hoe breaks. So that sucks. But I do succeed, which means I get to keep 1 of these. And I think I'm going to keep weak point. But then that moves that down to a 6. Boom. Okay. So now, still two cards. Gonna use the axe for sure. And Weak point is interesting because it lets me keep a card and lets me turn any 2 fists into an extra card that I can take into consideration. So I'm going to draw... I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw 6? Because then I can use 2 fists. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, awesome. So let's see. So let's do... I have 4 fists, which is really cool. So with weak point and the axe, I'm going to use the Art of War and those 2 fists to get 2 successes. So I have 2... And then I have these other 2 fists. So you can use any symbols. It doesn't matter, like on all the cards, not just the ones that you're keeping. So that lets me turn it into another card that I can keep. So I can keep 3. So I have 1, 2, 3. So there's 3. 1, 2, 3. And then with the axe, 4, 5. And now I think I'll return the lucky to make it 6 successes, which is pretty badass. So I am lucky enough to really just swing that axe into it. Art of War! Found the weak point, which is with this axe. So this gets returned. 154. 2, 3. And I also, with the weak point, get to keep one of these cards. And I did succeed, so that's still going to hit me for 2. So I'm at 16, but that knocks this down to 4. Now, which card do I want to keep? So weak point is what I used. The axe, does the axe break? No, thank God. Which card do I want? So improvise lets me hold onto 1 or use 1 additional card. Probably improvise. Yeah, I'm gonna keep improvise. And now I can only use 1 card. Gonna use the axe to count as an additional 1. So, and improvise, I'm gonna discard so I can use an extra card. So I can draw 3 and keep and use 3. So to try and get 4, 6, that's gonna be rough. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna draw 5, and I can keep 3. So 1, 2. There we go. There's the 3 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes, which knocks that down. So, yep, like the old cider said, or whoever, cutting down a tree is a job for anyone, but when it hits back, that makes me a harvester, baby. So, because I succeed, I read 40. Yay! Yay! The tree recoils, folding up its long, gnarled branches into a sort of protective cocoon. You hesitate for a precious second, fearing a ruse, but the abomination remains immobile. You are certain you have defeated it. Hurrah! Yeah! Wow! The survivors cheer you, raising their makeshift weapons and fists in support. Hurrah! Yeah! Woo! Brooks, have my babies! With one last effort, you clamber up the mound of the rubble that stands between you and escape. Discard all the cards on the board, open the introductory scenario entitled New Beginning where the bookmark is, and read the epilogue to end the scenario. So all of these get discarded. Boom. So, which basically means that they go into the past. Sorry, dude. Like, I do kind of feel bad. I totally meant to help him. Okay, so now we go to the bookmark. Epilogue. Turn the page to read the conclusion. Conclusion. You may not take any actions until the game invites you to do so. You emerge from the ruins of the Citadel, leading a small group of haggard survivors. For the first time in as long as you can remember, you are able to see across the desolate land stretching beyond the wall of the Citadel. Behind you, your cell collapses with a deafening crash. Dusty and ghost white, the last of the prisoners emerge from the Citadel. They burst into flames immediately upon the sun touching their skin. You have no idea what awaits you in the world before you, but whatever it is, you will face it in freedom. Over the last few hours following your escape, you have regained your strength. When you awake from sleep, a multitude of emaciated faces look at you, hopeful, as if expecting you to take charge. Each unconscious character gains 1 life point and regains consciousness. I did not pass out. I did only have 16 hit points, though. Each player returns their cards with the keywords temporary or weakness. That's none of them. Discards their hand of cards. Unblocks their cards. And shuffles their cards from their discard pile back into the action deck. Nice. Nice. Fully healed, baby. Well, at least in terms of... I'm fully rested. I mean, of course, I'm Brooks. I have this dormant strength. Which, again, I didn't have to pick strength. I could have had him be arcane. And maybe I wouldn't have gotten so dicked by that guy who was chained up, who was clearly a magician. It's like, dude, what the hell, man? You could have been crushed here. Okay. Alright. Gazing out beyond the crowd of survivors, you notice that the sky is clear. The clouds of dust that usually betray the pernicious actions of the burrowers seem to have disappeared. Could it be that the conflict has reached a turning point? If so, the surrounding land should be safe enough for you to explore and search for some answers. However, it would be suicide to set off without preparation or equipment. You need to get organized. Clearing your throat, you prepare to speak to the crowd, but nothing comes out. Who are you to command these people? So, state of play. The birth of your community. More than 100 prisoners managed to escape from the Citadel. Take a blank Citadel leaflet. On the community page, name your community and write down the name of each player taking part in the adventure. That would just be me. I don't have a name for the community yet, so I'll come up with one, hopefully. Okay. So, if I have an objective card that's objective number 2, I would return it, which I don't. I didn't get, like, any objectives. I didn't find Walda. Yeah. Taja, I do have. If a character has the unconscious Taja, I return it. So that was 11! 12, that's 13, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And I read 12. So 12. Taja gradually comes to. She sits up with a grimace. Like in Mass Effect Andromeda. But does not seem to recognize you. By Chentai! What happened? She stammers as she sees the gutted husk of the Citadel. The shock is so great that you fear for a moment that she will faint again. You gently pat her hand as you tell her of the recent adventures, from your manic escape through the collapsing building to your epic confrontation with the frantic tree. If I understand properly, then I owe you my life and my freedom, she says in a faltering voice. As if to change the subject, she calls out to the gardener she knows. Hey, Bayel! How many survivors are there? Without even giving her time to respond, Taja grabs Bayel by the arm and begins assessing the group's chances of survival. Taja is esteemed by all and will be a valuable asset when the time comes. So, I do get a +1 in influence. Yay! I'm just gonna put an X right there. And I take 2 99 cards and return the dialogue book. $2.99. Hope Reborn. Anytime you may block this and all of your other Hope Reborn cards so that the characters share 10 life points, which would, for me, would just be, I would just heal 10 life points. That's nice. Or I can do the fruits of my actions. I can think and basically gain a symbol on the Destiny page, which I'm sure we'll learn about in a sec. The Prisoner. If it is available, banish a 439 card from the adventure deck without revealing it. 439. That's definitely gonna be available. Probably. Yep, so that just gets banished without revealing it. Okay. Boy, that's probably him now wandering the land. And Ratko, objective card that is objective number 1. Nope, I don't know who Ratko is, I didn't get Walda, and I didn't save any lives. So, alright. 1 season has passed. Under destroyed canvases piled up against the rampart and in the gutted alcoves, the survivors approach their breaking point, torn apart by tension and hunger. You have no choice but to present them with a project full of promise, something to occupy their hands and minds, and above all, fill their bellies. With the help of a couple of bullocks and a cart that survived the collapse, you are able to gather the materials needed to set up a makeshift camp. Right in the middle of the sacred grove, you begin planting a vegetable garden that soon provides an abundance of fruit and vegetables. What sweet irony, as the Necrodruids had forbidden their consumption. Sowing, building. Now the day passes without you and your people being consumed by this vast undertaking. Little by little, Hope is reborn! So I checked 2 boxes on the production track. Boop. And boop. Check 2 boxes on the building page. Check 2 boxes on the buildings page of the Citadel leaflet. So, when you check a blank symbol on to check 1 building box next to the building of your choice below, when a building has all of its boxes checked, it is considered built, and you may apply its effect. So, check 2 boxes on the buildings page of the Citadel leaflet. So I guess I can make progress towards one of these things. Boy, I have no idea. Let's do a watchtower. So I have a watchtower built, and right on the buildings page of the Citadel leaflet. Yeah, I'm guessing this is the buildings page. And you know what? Where I just saw it. And let's get towards the tavern. Gotta have a place to blow off some steam. During the preparations phase, if you are at the Citadel, you may take a 0-6 card, which is a side quest. Okay, so that's how I can get side quests. And the preparation phase gives me some, whatever they're called, defense. So that's probably going to be handy. And I take 2 more 99 cards, which are going to be 2 more Hope is Reborn. Nice. Boom. At the end of another day's work, you contemplate what has been accomplished, what you have accomplished. The dwellings extend well beyond the Citadel's walls. Soon, the common room will be filled with lively conversations and laughter. All of this in a little less than a cycle. A little less than a year. As the last rays of sunshine disappear, you have to face the reality that, in spite of all you have achieved and the lives that you have saved, this is a tenuous victory. Living like this, by scavenging the remains of your former prison, is not sustainable, but does not displease those held captive for too long to ever fully embrace freedom again. Your meager resources no longer meet the needs of your ever-expanding community, swollen by births and the arrival of too many refugees who lost house and home in the reversal. One morning, Walton arrives at your tent with a broad smile. "We found some ground shivers in the ruins of the Citadel. They'll enable us to venture into the collapsing lands. And if you give me time, I think I can make even more. I think I can even make some more. In the glossary sections on page 2 and 3 of the dialogue book, you can read information. Okay, well, let's do that. Because it's been talking about some stuff, so 2 and 3. So the glossary. Burrowers refers to various invertebrate subterranean creatures that seem to have no will of their own and act according to the will of the worm master. The most common is a blind worm, which is as long as 2 people and moves by digging tunnels that cause the grounds above to collapse. The collapsing lands owe their name to the burrower's destructive work. Very, very interesting, like, with it being worms. Like, did not expect that at all. Ground Shiver. One of the first Necrodruid creations. During sacrilegious ceremonies, the druid Galahel of the Burning Bramble corrupted a pond lily with blood to the sound of incantations torn from the darkness. He named his creation Ground Shiver because it could detect the slightest vibrations in the environment and thus warn against the presence of burrowers by folding up its petals. This creation marked the advent of Necrodruids and was the first turning point in the War of the Worms. Without a Ground Shiver, it would be risky, foolish even, to travel in certain parts of the collapsing lands. Okay, good to know. So kind of like the baby in the Amazon walking simulator. What was that called? Oh, Death Stranding. So it's kind of like that. It's like it pedals up whenever the worms are nearby. And then the reversal. This unexplained event, which occurred nearly a cycle ago, was responsible for the collapse of Necrodruid Nina Desir's Citadel. Many view the reversal as the official end of the War of the Worms, which they attribute to the death of the main players in the conflict. Necrodruids on one side, War Master on the other, but these are only suppositions. More pessimistic people see the reversal as a simple lull in the conflict. So that the fight is still going on. Since your escape, you have kept watch on the horizon, wondering about the reasons for such upheavals, pondering what lies beyond and what might emerge. You are drawn to the buildings standing out at nightfall and to the tiny lights shimmering in the depths of the night. There is life out there, a world to be discovered and lifted from the rubble. Once again, you have provided the initiative by sending a small group of volunteers to scout the surrounding area. Your responsibilities in the camp forbid you from exposing yourself unnecessarily for now. Take card 25. The scouts return after a few days bearing interesting news. Flip this, slip it into the slot located in row B, column 3 of the world map, and then read the dialogue whose number can be seen in the top left-hand corner of the card. So, one cool thing, but also kind of shitty thing, is there is this plastic map. And it's so folded in such a way that it's like it's hard to slot things. You can't really flatten it because it needs to be folded up. But basically, this is... I have no idea if you'll even be able to see this. You can. This is the map of the Kel Protectorate as it was, like, years ago. So kind of like Tainted Grail, if you've played that. They basically gave you a map, but it was so old that it was like it could be outdated. That's similar here. So this is saying it's located in row B, column 3 of the world map. So right in here is where this goes. Boom. Which is still neat because now it kind of shows, like, so, I don't know if I'll be able to pull it out. Just kind of like, okay, well, what once was just mountains, now we can see that, hey, here's where we were at. There's a strange slab, and that's where the Citadel that we just escaped from was. And then there's other stuff on here. So now there's actually the Great Sea, and then 55 and 66. So I'm assuming you can actually explore out from here. So we'll find out when we read 25. We were careful, and we all came back unscathed. The ground shiver you gave us helped us avoid some rail burrowers by alerting us of their presence. Here is our citadel. We found traces of an ancient battle a little further south. Perhaps there is something that can be recovered to improve our defenses? An impassable crevasse cuts us off from the north. I don't know what accent I'm doing. It's some weird 7th Citadel accent. As you can see here, the Great Sea has spread much further west. Finally, there is a strange stone slab there, but we weren't able to open it. You thank Raleen for his report and wish him good rest. If this is your first time reading this dialogue, we gain more knowledge. Neat. So, yeah, so basically he said the Great Sea, which was right here, actually, originally, looks like it's spread out more, which is kind of fascinating. So maybe the middle is this whole sea. And yeah, a strange slab that they mentioned. There's a crevasse that we probably can't cross. And then there's a battle. So that's that. You just fold it up because that will eventually change as time goes on. And then we gained some knowledge. Soon, you will venture further than you have ever gone before, discovering the world's many mysteries and sleepy secrets. You may now take actions again. You must immediately take the think action on each of your Hope Reborn cards. So, I have 4 Hope Reborn, so the fruits of your actions are beginning to be felt in the world around you and in yourself. Check one symbol on the Destiny page of the Citadel leaflet and apply its effect. Block this, slipping it underneath one player's character card. So, if no symbol is checked yet, you must check the middle symbol, otherwise check one symbol connected to a previously checked symbol. So I have basically 4 check marks. So the first thing I have to do is check the middle. So that's one Hope Reborn card that gets blocked. Then I have 3 more. The building. Using materials from the ruins of the nearby citadel, work on the new buildings progressing slowly. Everyone is working hard as the future of the community depends on its progression. So check one box of the building page. When the building has all of it is considered built and you may apply its effects. Well, I think, so this is probably going to be, I am going to hit, yeah, so I'm actually going to go with this way. So that will get me, I check one box on the buildings page, which I will complete the tavern. So the tavern has now been built, which means I can take a side quest card during the preparations phase. So that's one Hope Reborn. And then I'm going to go up here for the second one. Each person you must find their place and serve the community to the best of their abilities. With this in mind, you have selected a handful of individuals with a range of talents to educate the others in the arts of writing, fighting, and farming. So I can increase any of my skills on the community page by 2. And I think I'll increase defenses by 2, just because I don't have any right now. And the last one on the Destiny page, I will use to go this way, which is through training and experience you have developed new abilities. So I randomly take 4 advanced skill cards from the game and one player gains 2 of these, or 2 players each gain 1, return any cards that were not chosen. So advanced skill cards, there are a bunch, like a bunch, and I will randomly take 4 of them. And hope that, and then I actually get to keep 2 of them. So that's going to go into my action deck, which is pretty sweet because now that's going to give me more energy, so I'm not constantly cycling. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This problem with sleeved cards is like, but I mean that's still a decent amount. All right, what did we get? We got Adrenaline, which I'll probably take. During the consequence step, shuffle up to 3 cards you revealed back into your action. Taking that for sure. And then probably Stunning Blow. If you want to apply the following effect, you must block 1 card with the keyword weapon that you have selected. So for that's really good. So I'm gonna lose 1 weapon, but I automatically get 2 successes in each fist. Becomes a success up to a max of 5. Yeah. Yep, that seems pretty sexy. Because there were advanced cards you can get in 7th Continent, like you gained experience, and that allowed you to get better cards. But I don't know, this definitely feels a lot more personal, just because you have your own character versus you had your own character in the other one, but your specialized cards were in the shared action deck, so, like, I don't know. But also at the same time, every time you did a action, you got to keep a card that was drawn, whereas this one, it's a specific icon that lets you keep them, so it's not innate. So you don't always have a hand of cards. Okay, so those were the actions that I could take, which was pretty much just look upon the Hope Reborn stuff. And that's part of the Citadel. Still don't have a name. Still haven't come up with a clever one off the top of my head. So we'll go back to a new beginning. Congratulations! You have completed the introductory scenario of the 7th Citadel. So, if you wish to start a new threat immediately, return all cards in the past and choose an available threat booklet and write its title down on the community page of this. Return this introductory scenario. If you prefer to continue the adventure later, which I will, choose an available threat booklet, write its title down, and place the bookmark at the beginning of the first scenario. Take a 7 card and return this introductory scenario. So, I'm definitely going to be doing that. I think what I'm going to do... That's like right next to the mic. So there are 2 threats that came in the base game, and then one that was an expansion. There was a lot of mini expansions that I threw in, like the Unveilers. So there's cards for them. The Alembic of Valengrod. The Knowledge is Power, because knowledge is power. And then On the Edge of Peril, which I'm not doing On the Edge of Peril, but basically those other 3, those were smaller expansions. But then they have the Final Throne, which I have not included. So, Final Throne. So the 2 threats that we can do is the Drums of Desolation or Natakaem's Awakening. Let's see, which one would be more exciting? I might do Natakaem's Awakening. That sounds... It doesn't say which one to do in order. There's not really one to do in order. So, let's see. There's me as Brooks. Does he have an E? No. And the threat... Or Datacums? I thought it was an N, but it might be a D. Maybe it's Datakaems. Who fucking knows? Jesus Christ. Datachamsaems. Awakening. There we go. So, because I'm doing it later, place the bookmark at the beginning of the first scenario, which is going to be that. And then take card 007. Take Take a 008 card without flipping it and place it on top of a pile comprising from top to bottom all whatever world event cards, and then for each character. So it's basically telling me how to save. And then take a 008 card and place on top of a pile comprising, so without flipping it. So when I resume my game, I flip it, and basically it's telling me how to save, that's pretty neat. And then return this. So there is the final picture for what crashed that Citadel. Looks like those were all the cells for all of them, and we were climbing down like from that as we're running around trying to get to the bottom. Pretty interesting stuff. But that was a new beginning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you would like to see this. It looked like, from my perspective, the cards didn't glare and we were able to see what was going on. I can continue to do what I'm doing, just showing each card and then placing it down. But yeah, that was the new beginning, and then if that goes over well, then we'll start with Datacam's Awakening. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed. Stick around for the rest of the series, potentially, and like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.